So, what if you go out too hard in a race on the track or in cross country? Coach Jason here from Top Line Running. I hope you're all doing well. A couple of folks have asked me this question recently on TikTok. And if you, by the way, if you're a coach or an athlete and you're not following me on TikTok and you have TikTok, access the coach is my TikTok account. I do daily countdown in there as well, and we have content here too. So, got 1,000 followers on TikTok. Now I'm going to go get on the march to 10,000 subscribers here. So, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do that. Okay, if you're an athlete or a coach, my email address is blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. Again, blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. I answer emails from coaches and athletes all the time. I help them customize training programs. We can discuss any one of my 600 plus videos as well if you'd like. Okay, today's topic is, what if I go out too hard in a cross country race? Well, what does it tell you? Well, I mean, sometimes it'll tell you if you're not fit enough, right? Or not ready to go out that fast. And what do I mean by that? Well, simple philosophy in as a former competitive runner and a coach over the last 2+ decades. I'm also USATF certified. I'm also Wharton Training certified musculoskeletal and flexibility therapist. Putting that out there. So my simple philosophy is race the way you train. Okay, that's the reality check. Reality check. Now, you want to train the way you want to race. You have to race the way you actually train. Okay, it's a simple philosophy, but it's a reality check for those. Okay, if you want to run, let's just say 5:20 per mile in a cross-country race, then are you doing enough work at 5:20 pace to justify it, to show that you're ready to do it? And I understand too, a lot of races go out really fast, especially in cross-country, mostly cross-country. Why? Well, generally the pack goes from here, and at some point it starts to narrow into a path somewhere, right? So guys are going to go out, or girls are going to go out, sometimes guns blazing. That's totally understandable. You want to settle into their position. But here's a couple of things. It doesn't really matter where you are at a mile. I understand it's cool for photo ops and all this type of stuff, and it's nice to be with your teammates, especially the top ones at the mile, but does it really matter? It's important to think about, my team doesn't really need me here right now at 1 mile. They need me here at 2 miles. They need me here at 3 miles, right, or 5K. Let's just use 5K as an example, okay? That has to be factored in, okay? And because the score is not tallied at the mile mark. It's not tallied at the 2 mile mark. It's tallied at the end of the race. And where you want to be at the end of the race is a way that it's a good idea to be training that way, okay? Meaning progressively faster workouts, progressively faster runs. I do something called bookend tempos. What is that? You go out hard, let's just say a 400 meters fast, and then you take a 90-second recovery or a minute recovery. Then you do a tempo run. Then you take a minute recovery again. You do another 400 meters fast. So it gets you used to going out hard, doing the tempo, which is essentially settling into the race, and then finishing strong. And then I cut that race, let's just say from either 90 to 60 or 60 to 30 the next time I do it, okay? So the rest gets shorter. You do the same thing, 400, then a tempo, then 400. Okay, let's just say 400. It could be 200, it could be 300. It's up to you to decide. And then the last time I do it without the rest. Okay, so if the goal of the day is 6-minute mile for 4 miles or whatever it might be, which you should be able to do if that's where you've been training, adding a fast 400, let's just say 3K pace in the beginning, and then settling right into your tempo run, and finishing in the last 400 or whatever, 200 at 3K pace or faster, is how the race is going to unfold in most cases, especially in cross country. Track, generally, it's more tactical. It's easier to lock into paces, right? Especially if you have goal time that you want to run, you want to get a qualifier, you got to lock into goal times. Cross country is a completely different animal. Rolling hills, this, that, and so on. And again, your qualifier is at the end of the season. There is no such thing as a time qualifier in cross country. You have to qualify for the big race when it counts the most. So these are the types of things you do during the season to put your race plan and race strategy together. Another thing is knowing the course, reading the course. If it's a course you race multiple times, then as a coach, I would encourage you to design workouts accordingly to set your athletes up or yourself up to maximize where your strengths are, where your athletes are, of course. If their strengths are in the hills, you design workouts to enable them to capitalize on that. the race goes out fast and goes like this, you can design workouts to do that. You can do it on an open field, you can do it on the track. Okay? So, and then you can do the same thing on the back end of it. But it's these little types of things that help set you up for these cross-country races. But again, if you go out too fast, chances are you're going to go into oxygen debt, meaning then it's going to feel like you have a bear in your back. It's going to feel lactic in the legs, especially if you're not ready for it. That's why speed development is so important, right? That's why, you know, those progression 150s that I talk about on a regular basis is so important, or the 300s, the 200s, whatever, at the end of a run, or at the end of a workout, at the end of a tempo, right? That's why I do speed development on a regular basis. That's why we do tempo runs, okay? It helps to build sustained fitness, helps to improve your VO2 max so that if you want to move down and do faster stuff, you can, okay? It's like baking that cake. The more you bake that cake, the better foundation, the easier it's going to be to put frosting on it. And that's exactly that's what the workouts are, right? Ice the cake, you're ready to run your best when it counts the most. So knowing the course is important. I'm going to use Van Cortlandt Park as an example. People that know Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx, it's like almost 600 meters, and then it tails in, right? And you have your cow path. And it's 1,200 meters from the start to the bridge before you go into the back hills. Okay, and then there's 2 kilometers worth of back. And I measured this with a wheel. Okay, it's 2 kilometers of back hills, and then once you get out to that, back to the bridge, it's 800 meters to the finish. 3 parts, right? 1,200, 2K, 800. Add it up, it's 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles. That's exactly what the race is at Van Cortlandt Park. Okay, doesn't change if you do a 5K, except the longer start. But the 2K is still the 2K, and the 800 is still the 800 to finish. Those apply all the time. Okay, but knowing that enables you to set up your workouts accordingly. Okay, if you're going to run on a flat course, then it's easier to lock into some shorter, faster workouts. It's easier to do tempos, and I encourage folks to do tempos on flat courses or even on the track, so you can just lock into your pace range. Okay, and generally it should be a prescribed pace range for tempos for the most part. There are some rolling tempos that are a little bit longer that can be progressive fast. So, but again, it does not matter where you are in the first quarter mile of the race or the first mile. It matters where you are at the end. And if you go out too fast and you aren't ready for it, it will limit your ability to finish strong at the end. If you're lucky enough to recover mid-race and continue to move up, then that's great. But you've got to be fit enough to do that. Okay? And training, setting up your training accordingly, is one of the important pieces to help you do that. Okay? And I understand in some situations there are people that do multiple workouts and multiple races in a week. I get it. I get it. So you got to maximize your opportunities to get fit and recover at the same time. Okay? But I want to keep it simple today. Okay? If you go out too hard in a race, what happens? Okay? You get a little junk in your legs. You feel heavy. It's going to hurt for a little bit. And again, the bright spot here is that's a 5K. It's not a marathon. You got too hard in a marathon, you're dead meat. So, you know, that's a different monster. If you got too hard in a 5K race in cross country, there's a decent chance you can recover. At least if I think, at the very least, hang on for dear life and try to still run as best you can. But it's important to set these types of these scenarios up in your training. Because if you know you're going to go out too fast, and the adrenaline sometimes just leads us to that area, and that happens, right? It leads us to go out fast. You've got to be quick enough to respond and recover from that. So I encourage you to consider those bookend tempos, workouts where you can even go. You go out hard for 400 meters, right, or 300 meters. You can even do it at mile pace, and then you get a short recovery. And then you do some threshold 800s or threshold Ks, whatever. And then on the back end, you do the same hard 300 again. That simulates a cross-country race. Going out hard, running the mill, and finishing strong at the end. Okay? And finishing strong at the end, if you can finish almost the same pace that you did in the beginning, then you know you're in good shape. And this is where you design that stuff in training. Okay? Put your athletes in a position to do that. So if anybody has any questions about this, okay, again, how you set up your training is really important. I encourage you to take a look at my training programs. High school and college cross country. I got fully detailed programs. You'll see how everything's laid out. It's broken down into segments of 3 to 4 weeks each. Okay, for either 4 weeks, 4-week segments times 3 or 3-week segments times 4, depending on how long it's going to. I build it out so that's about 12 weeks, which it generally is. And again, there's a different dynamic in each segment of training. So it sets you up to run your best when it counts the most. Okay, it's designed that way on purpose for a reason, knowing that your best races have to come at the end of the season. That's why I do it. If you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here. Have a great day and a great rest of the season. Talk to you next time.